It's not just an ordinary Tuesday. Welcome to Terrier Tuesdays, the show where you can get to know some of Boston University's best and brightest student athletes.
Welcome to another edition of Terrier Tuesdays. I'm Scott Ellis, and I'm joined by the two women's tennis seniors, Clara Falxa and Lily O'Fagan. Ladies, you just wrapped up finals. How excited are you to be graduates of BU? And I'll start with you, Clara.
Well, it does feel really weird now that we don't have tennis, we don't have school anymore. And I just got back home too, so I'm like quarantine at home. So it definitely feels like there is a void in my life right now. But I'm excited to, begin something new as well. And I'll definitely still be in touch with everybody within the team. So I'm not done yet. I still feel like I have a lot of going on in my life, so I'm fine.
And for you, Lily?
I agree with Clara. It's a very bittersweet feeling. Finals are a bit different, obviously taking them online, but it's very exciting to be graduating. The 4 years have gone incredibly quick, so it's bittersweet feeling.
And y'all are both international students. Clara, you living in France, and Lily, you from New Zealand. Can y'all just first share how are things going for your families back home? And obviously, Clara, you're now back in France. And I'll start with you, Lily.
So New Zealand, they handled it pretty well. My parents and my older sister have gone back to work. And so right now they've pretty much gone back to normal. All the restaurants that are open. And I think we only had about 1,500 cases. They did pretty well. But my sister has been a ICU nurse over back home. And so that's a little bit concerning, as well, when you have a family member in the front line. But everything seems to be going pretty smoothly back home, which is also nice to hear.
And have you been able to communicate often with them, Lily?
Yeah, it was awesome. Normally I have to kind of organize when I'm going to be able to talk with my parents I think it's about a 16-hour time difference. But now it's because they were at home and I could call them just about whenever. So it's normally like a daily FaceTime or something like that. So it's been awesome.
And do you know yet, or you have any plans of trying to get back home soon?
Yeah, I definitely was hoping to try and get back after graduation, or something, in the summer. But I have just applied for my OPT visa to try and stay for an extra year and work in the US. So that kind of confines me to staying in the US until that process has been hopefully accepted. And
for you, Clara, flying back home, what was that experience like? Was it stressful, or did you find just like flying like any other time?
No, definitely not. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty stressed, taking the flights and everything, especially since there was no any direct connection. So I had to take many more flights than I would usually do on a normal basis. So that was pretty stressful, but at least, the airports were pretty empty. So that was really weird. When I got to Paris, all the toilets were closed, no restaurants, no nothing. So I was just hanging in the airport by myself. So that was a bit weird. But at least on the flights, it was pretty empty. So I actually, during the longest connection between my Atlanta and Paris flights, I got to lay down fully. So, I felt like I was in first class. That was a great experience. Everyone was wearing masks for sure, but actually something pretty funny happened in the plane. One of the passengers had a cat, and the cat just escaped literally within the plane. So everyone was running around looking for it and everything. And I felt like everyone was touching the plane everywhere. Well, just before they were oh no, we're not touching anything because we were scared. So that was pretty funny. And everyone who was nervous before felt pretty more relaxed and stuff after that. So that helped a lot. But yeah, I made it back home, so I'm happy.
And how's your family when you came back home? Everyone doing well?
Yes, it's been like everywhere in the world. It's been a rough few weeks. France was in pretty severe lockdown. We needed an authorization to get out of the house. You could only walk within 1 kilometer of your area and stuff. So that was pretty hard, but I think my parents, like, they dealt pretty well with it. They had like a lot of stuff to keep them busy at home and stuff, so that was nice. And I came back at a really nice time, actually. I came back on the 10th of May, and on the 11th they started like reopening stuff, so now we can travel like freely within like 100 kilometers of our house. All the shops are reopening, and we're hoping that maybe beginning of June, all the restaurants reopen as well. So it's coming back to normal, slowly but surely.
Right. And my next question for both of you is, how did y'all end up at BU? And what has that transition, that experience been like living in the U.S. the past 4 years? And I'll start with you, Lily.
Yeah, it was a bit of a, I guess, weird beginning. When I was first looking for universities and Division I tennis programs, I hardly knew any of the states to begin with, and I'd never been over here. So it kind of just turned out where I reached out to Leslie, and we just got talking, and I'd sent some videos of myself playing, and all I had heard is that Boston was a great city, but it was very, very cold, and everyone's just like, oh, like, wow, like it's so cold in Boston, you know. But I think one of its best kept secrets is actually how hot it gets here in the summer. So literally I just came over to the States kind of with the unknown, and I had a great relationship with Leslie coming over, so I felt that I felt like it was just going to work. And I guess ignorance is bliss sometimes, and not knowing everything. And just kind of came over and fell in love with the city, and especially the team. And very lucky to also be at classmates with Clara. So it was awesome.
And for you, Clara?
Well, I can have the same experience as Lily. Back home in France, we don't have the same system as you guys have in the US. There's no way we can study and play tennis at the same time. So obviously, if I wanted to keep playing my sport, the US was like the number one option for me. And so I also reached out to Leslie. We started talking and everything. And it's just like Lily said, like Boston, I heard it was a great city, super nice environment, the academic and the sports, like everything fit perfectly to what I was looking for. So I went there also in the middle of the season. I came in January, so that was a bit stressful. I didn't know the team or anyone there, but like after literally like 2 weeks of being there, it felt like I had been there for like a year already. So my transition between like France and Boston was super smoothly. And I met my second family there, so I'm really happy I came. And it's been like a great 4 years. We had a lot of fun, many great memories and stuff like that. And I just, now it's kind of hard because now I'm going to start missing it a lot. So great. But it means like I really like it. So I'm really happy I came.
Right. And speaking of family, Leslie's been the matriarch for so long now, starting here as a student and being the head coach for over 30 years now. What has she meant to each of you? And I'll start with you, Clara.
Well, as I said, I came not knowing anyone. I never came on an official visit or everything. So she was like the first person I met when I came to BU. I was actually with my mom practicing, and she came at the TTC to say hello the first day I came to BU. And she's like such she's like a mom to us, basically. She's like one of the adult figure we always have. You know, at BU, we can always refer to her, ask her if we have any question, not only like regarding tennis, but also like academics or like life in general. So she's been a great asset for me here at BU for sure. And I will never thank her like as much for having me have the opportunity to come to BU and like train and go to school for all these past 4 years. It's been great. So I'll definitely keep in touch with her. And
And for you, Lily?
I think we've been very, very lucky to have the coaching staff that we did. So like Leslie and obviously Rachel Cantor as well. They work so well as a team. And I think the main thing is that Leslie and Rachel both came across as just more than like your coach. You knew that they cared for you on like a personal level and about your families and how you were doing academically. And I think it's that kind of relationship that I was able to build with them that just, it made the whole tennis sort of program feel more as in like a family, like Clara said. And always just knowing that being so far away from home, I always had like a team and Leslie and Rachel to kind of fall back on, has made the 4 years feel very like at home.
Right. And continuing the family theme, the program, especially over the years, has always had an international feel, whether from Europe or Asia, Australia, and Canada. Can y'all just talk about, obviously being international yourself, but getting to meet other people, not only on the team, but also on campus? If you can just share some of your experiences and how that's helped benefit you both personally and as an athlete. And I'll start with you, Clara.
Well, I've always lived abroad my entire life. I've never really been in France that much. So that was definitely something I was looking for when I came to BU, the fact that there were like so many international students there. So that definitely something that appealed to me. And yeah, it was great, like being in even in the classroom, as you say, like we would have like people from Europe, from Asia, from New Zealand. Like really, I never met someone from New Zealand before, so it was great. And yeah, like be able to share everyone's background, everyone obviously coming from all these different countries as a different way of like working, other experiences and stuff like that. So it was definitely a great time of like sharing, also being able like to not learn, I wouldn't say I learn any new languages, but at least I get some new words out like here and there. It was definitely very beneficial. And now I can say that I have some friends from all over the world. So considering we're living in a very global era, I guess that's very beneficial right now. Yeah.
And you, Lily?
Yeah, so I guess I've had quite a rural upbringing back in New Zealand. So it was quite an eye-opener coming over here and being able to meet so many different people and from so many different backgrounds, which has been like a great opportunity. I've learned so much about like different cultures and where different like people have come from. And it's something that I want to continue to do. It's been great to be able to meet people and have that kind of international feel as well that we did on the team. And as Clara said, it's great to also have people all over the world now that you've created such a good friendship with.
And for both of you, besides having success on the court, y'all are both named to the Patriot League Academic Honor Roll. Can y'all just talk about how that balance was the past 4 years, focusing on academics and helping the team have success on the court? And I'll start with you, Lily.
Yeah, so at first it was quite I thought I knew what hard work was before coming over here, but that changed very quickly when I had to start to learn how to manage kind of my time with school and academics. And it has been something that has kind of evolved over the past 4 years. But I think something I've found is like that the spring has kind of been actually an easier semester, which is a bit strange because even though we're busier as a team and as tennis players, we kind of all respect that everyone's trying to still learn, and there is a major focus on our academic side as well. And that's something I did really appreciate from Leslie and the coaching team, that as we were very focused on the tennis and that our main goal was always, to build towards Patriot League, but it was also to finish very strong as a team academically. So yeah, it's been good, and it was very interesting as well to see the other side of not having tennis while finishing finals and just that extra time to kind of study. So yeah, it's definitely helped kind of me grow as a person to manage my time better.
And Clark?
So before I came to BU, I was homeschooled. So definitely it was a big transition for me, coming from being all by myself in my bedroom learning to coming to a class of like 300 students. But as Lily said, we had such a great support from Leslie and Rachel, who always thought that academics would always come first. And also from BU athletic department as well. We feel it was great. Every week I would meet with him to make sure that everything was going smoothly, that if I had any questions regarding advising, I would always have someone to help and everything. So the transition was made much more easier thanks to that. And yes, balancing tennis and academics, I feel for me it's easier when there's actually tennis to have to get things done, because I know that, between like 2 and 4, I'm going to practice. So I have to get things done before I go to practice. Otherwise I'm going to be late or anything. So I think that tennis helped me a lot in that way, being able to manage my time better. And as you say, Lil, when we didn't have tennis anymore and finals was there, I was just like procrastinating like way too much. So it was a bit harder. So I'm really thankful for my tennis time for sure. So actually it pushes me to work harder, I guess. So that's nice.
Right. And finally, thanks again for joining me. But my final question is, what are your favorite memories, whether tennis related or just BU related, during your time here? And I'll start with you, Lily.
It's definitely hard to pinpoint, a few different best memories over the past 4 years, but I think one would definitely be winning at Patriot League in Clara and my freshman year, and then being able to travel to North Carolina, for our NCAAs. That was an amazing experience, and something I'll never forget. It was a shame we didn't get to, give it a crack this year as well, but despite that, it's just memories that have been created kind of on and off the court, whether it's like in the weight room or just, as we have, team dinners at the dining hall. They've been some of my best memories, just, when you just be able to, have like that family dinner, I guess, with your teammates.
And you, Clara?
I totally agree with Lily. For me, it's the same. Winning Patriot League was such a big event, especially as a freshman. It was so fun. I remember, I literally picture it like if it was yesterday when Remy clinched for the team against Army. We all ran towards her, almost jumped on her, poor little thing. It was really, really fun. And traveling to North Carolina after, it was just a great time. But also in general, I can't pick one specific memory. There's just been so many. When we traveled to spring breaks, we had the chance to go to Miami, to San Diego. We had some incredible times there as a team. Team bonding was fun. Speaking of team bonding, each year we would have some kind of fun activities to meet the new freshmen. And I always loved that time. I always love meeting the people who are going to share another season with us. So it's always fun, because each year we're oh my God, how these new 4 people are going to fit in the team. There's no way we're so close. They're going to have such a hard time. And somehow after a week or so, it's been it feels like they've been there for a year already. So I always love this team bonding activities and stuff, and I'm going to miss them for sure a lot.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, ladies, and stay safe and healthy.
Thanks for tuning in to Terrier Tuesdays. Give us a follow on our social media accounts at BU Athletics on Twitter and Instagram.